See.
Saving my life.
Well, I guess if anybody should really get the credit, it should go to Eliot Dorn.
Eliot. Yes, well. Yeah, he must have been as upset as I was to find out what Cody was doing.
Yeah, well, I doubt that. All he lost was his ministry. You could have lost your life.
Yeah, you're right about that.
And I'm not crazy about the way they were going to do it either.
Drowning me?
Yeah.
Sea River?
Oh, I've seen you after you take a shower. You look terrible with your hair all wet. You always want to look your best.
Steve, what are you saying things like that?
Hey, knock it off. None of that in a public place.
Calvin!
when'd you get back?
That's for you, and that's for you. Plane just got in. I thought my best friends would at least come meet me at the airport. But I see you got other things to do.
Oh, well, we thought you were going to be down there in at least another week.
We got lucky. Some of those creeps we were catching decided to turn state's evidence. So once he started to sing, all we had to do was write out the warrants. They're now sitting, waiting for extradition back to Monticello to stand trial.
Well, it's very good to see you. Come on, sit down.
sit down.
Here, have a sandwich.
Thank you. Oh, look at this.
So how's everything going?
Well, listen, after what I read in the paper, I'm glad to see you.
What did you read?
Well, you made page 1 in Miami.
Really?
Oh.
I'm really surprised that they picked that story up down there.
Well, I suppose a lot of the kids from down there probably headed up here to join the Children of the Earth.
Yeah, that bus depots must be filled with kids on their way back home now.
Yeah, so they finally pulled the bottom out of that organization, huh?
Oh, yeah. We figured it was a sham. We had no idea it was, well, anything worse than a money-making scheme.
Yeah, I read about that creep Cody Patrick being responsible for those kids being drowned.
Yeah, well, Cody's telling it to St. Peter right now.
You said some of the members went home?
Yeah, as soon as the story came out, they all cleared town.
And what about Star Wilson? What happened to her?
Look at your world now, Eliot. Your green, fertile globe. Your horn of plenty. This emerald world set like a jewel in the cosmos. This diadem on the forehead of the Almighty. Keep the planet green. You wanted green, all right, my boy? Green tolerables. Well, what have you got now? To the earth minister. King without a country. Preacher without a parrot. The sign of the double cross.
Oh, Eliot.
What are your plans for the future?
I'll go home to my parents like you asked me to. What about you?
My future is in the hands of the authorities, my child.
You mean the police? Eliot, they're not going to press charges. They know you didn't know anything about what Cody was doing.
Oh, I knew what he was doing with the money, Johnny. That fact can't be hidden.
Yeah, but that's not illegal.
Or just immoral. Correct?
Will you go back to teaching, maybe?
A respectable school would hire me. I wouldn't hire myself.
Eliot, what are you going to do?
I'll continue my life's work, but with a slight difference.
What do you mean?
Well, I'll still continue to preserve the environment. But from now on, I'm going to preserve it in alcohol.
The doctor prescribed Thorazine for the new arrival in the ward. I was short of the supply, so I went to the doctor's office to get a fresh supply. And lucky thing I showed up when I did.
Lucky for who?
From what Nurse Jones says, another minute and you would have been out that door and free on the grounds.
You don't think I was trying to break out, Warden?
That thought did cross my mind.
Now, why would I want to do that? You run such a nice prison.
Cut the bull, Hannah.
I was just visiting Doc Whaley's office. That's all there was to it.
I wasn't aware you were in therapy.
She isn't.
I told you I should be. I'm up to my ears in repressed hostilities.
What were you doing in that office?
I was looking for April Scott.
You expect me to believe that?
April told me I could visit her anytime she was getting her head shrunk. Well, we needed another girl for the ping pong tournament, so I left the rec room, and I came up to see if April wanted in.
You came up by yourself?
Oh, no, I came up with Marge. I mean, with Matron Winslow.
Is that true, Doctor?
Well, the matron did come into my office. She was very excited. She told me there was an inmate in cell block 10 who was in a violent rage, and I better go down there. And when I left my office, Hannah was in the waiting area.
How long were you out of your office?
Well, not very long. By the time I arrived at the block, the crisis had passed.
You left April Scott alone in your office?
No, of course not. Matron Winslow assured me that she would escort April back to herself.
I see.
Well, if you don't mind, I do have guests waiting at home, and I'm late already.
Of course. Check in with me first thing in the morning, all right?
Certainly. Good evening.
Do you need me anymore, Warden? No, you can go. Oh, tell Marge to come in on your way out, please.
You want to see me now, Warden?
Come on in, Marge. Let's talk.
Warden, I feel awful about what I just never thought that Hannah would do such a thing.
Why did you leave Hannah alone in that office?
Well, I told the doctor that I would take April Scott back to her cell.
You were willing to leave Hannah alone.
Well, Warden, now we know that April Scott is a little bit off her rocker, so I thought I better get her back behind bars.
And I promised to be a good girl and behave myself.
Well, you shouldn't have tried to escape, Hannah.
Do you both think that I am so stupid that this act of yours is fooling me one little bit?
Now, what are you talking about?
The prison grapevine is pretty extensive, so much so that I'm even plugged into it most of the time. I've known for some while that Hannah pays you for certain privileges.
Oh, that's a lie.
I'm surprised you wanted to escape, Hannah. From what I hear, Marge waits on you hand and foot. Now, you're not going to get it that good on the outside.
Oh, you know how it is. The grass always looks greener.
How much did Hannah promise you, Marge, for leaving alone in that office? And how much did you give the girl in cell block 10 to cause a ruckus to get Dr. Whaley out of the office?
This is all a setup.
You know, Warmdale is not that easy to get out of. And when you try and fail, you have to face the consequences.
I'm a lifer. What are you going to do? Keep me in 2 years after I kick the bucket?
I can recommend that you are transferred to a maximum security facility. I know of a couple of places that make Warmdale look like a country club.
What about me, Warden?
As soon as I get this thing sorted out, you're going to be off Hannah's payroll and off ours as well.
You mean you're going to fire me?
If you're lucky, that's all I'll do. Most likely, I'll prefer charges.
You always said you liked working in a prison, Marge. Now you're going to get to live in one, too.
I'm sending Hannah and Marge out. Will you see that Hannah is taken to solitary? I'll talk to you in the morning, Marge.
Yes, Warden. You and your big ideas.
Draper and I had something really important to do.
Mike has been looking for you desperately. He's called here 6, 7 times in the last half hour. He's worried.
Did you talk to him?
No?
He tell you the news?
Oh, what news?
Dr. Norwood has confessed to murdering Denise. I know it's incredible, but it's true. He wasn't even paralyzed, it turns out.
That's just incredible. How did you find out?
I'll tell you the whole story later. I better get back to Mike now, don't you think?
What did the police know?
Just the police up in Mayfield. I called Mike from there, told him what was going on, asked him to kind of get the wheels in motion quickly to get April out of the damn prison. What's the car's number, do you know?
It's 555-1239.
Imagine how elated Draper is.
Where is he?
He's at home, sleeping, I hope. He was pretty wrung out. Mike,
Is that you, Miles?
Yes, I just got back. Listen, you were right to try to get me here at Nicole's. I wanted to tell her the good news as fast as I could.
Miles, there's been a new development.
Listen, were you able to get hold of the warden? Does April know anything about it yet?
Miles, listen. Something's happened.
What is it?
Well, the timing couldn't have been worse, but there's nothing we can do about it now. We'll just have to try our best to get her to return.
Return?
Miles, April's no longer at Warmdale Prison. She escaped.
April, as long as we love each other, we're going to survive.
Then I am going to live a very long time. Because I'm never going to stop loving you.
Time to go, Mrs. Scott.
I wonder if I might have a couple of more moments with my wife.
I don't have all day.
I guess it's time for us to say goodbye.
Honey, remember in the hospital when you were going in for your operation and we didn't know whether you were going to make it or not. And we said that we'd never say goodbye. Don't say goodbye now, please.
Look. Maybe you could hold these for me, okay? Goodbye, Draper.
No. Oh. Yeah, hello.
Draper, it's me. I'm really sorry to wake you up. You were sleeping, weren't you?
No, I was just taking a little nap, Miles. Glad you woke me, though. I had a nightmare. I was dreaming about the day we took April over and left her off at prison. I'm glad life is a lot better now.
Look, Draper, I got some disturbing news. April isn't at Warmdale at the moment.
What do you mean? She been transferred?
Mike just spoke to the warden the way we'd asked him to. He found out there's been some kind of trouble up there.
What do you mean? She's in the hospital?
No, she's on the outside. Apparently she was involved in some kind of a prison break.
Prison break? Miles, what are you talking about?
Draper, I wish I had different news for you, but I'm afraid that's the situation. I just spoke to Mike, and he thought it would be a good idea if we all met to discuss the next step.
Next step? Miles, look, Miles, we've got to make sure that April knows she doesn't have to run away. She's got to be told everything's all right.
Yes, I know she's got to be told. The question is how.
doesn't any of this make sense to me? When I was little, and this house used to creak and groan. I used to think it was talking to me. Now I know it has something to say. The key to all this is here somewhere. Just have to figure out where to find it.
Hey, what on earth are you dawdling for? It seems like hours since I told you to get ready.
Mommy, do I have to go?
Yes, you certainly do. Now come here. Let me fix your dress for you.
Why can't I stay home and play with my dollhouse?
Because you have to be there. Don't you understand that?
Why?
Because I say so. Besides, I'm not about to leave you all by yourself in this house.
Can't you wait until Daddy comes home?
Your father is at old man Simon's funeral. Honestly, sometimes I think he kills off some of his patients just so he can sop up the booze at their wakes.
Then I'll stay home. Then I'll stay home all by myself. Please.
Look, if you and I don't get out of here before your father comes home, there's going to be another battle about our going over to Mrs. Lupesco's, and I don't need that.
I don't want to go because whenever we're there, Mrs. Lupesco turns off the lights and I'm afraid of the dark.
No, only babies are afraid of the dark. You're a big girl now, aren't you?
I guess so.
Besides, it has to be dark there. The spirits don't like to come out when it's light.
What are spirits?
Spirits are souls of the dead.
I don't understand.
Well, you see, when a person dies, he goes off into this other world where the spirits live. And some of these spirits are pretty nice. I mean, they're willing to talk to us folks that are still alive. But they'll only talk through special people, like Mrs. Lupesco. Oh, you don't understand a word I'm saying, and your father doesn't believe. Some family I have.
Why does Mrs. Lupesco always fall asleep?
What are you talking about?
When you sit at the table and the lights go off, Mrs. Lupesco falls asleep and starts talking in those funny voices.
Well, that isn't Mrs. Lupesco talking. That's a spirit. You see, some of these spirits, they don't have their own bodies anymore, and so they have to use Mrs. Lupesco's body, like a howling wolf.
Who?
Well, you know, when Mrs. Lupesco falls asleep and starts talking in that funny voice.
Yes.
Well, Mrs. Lupesco is in a trance, and that's really howling wolf talking. And he's an Indian, and he helps Mrs. Lupesco to look for other people in the spirit world.
Then I'll stay home all by myself, please.
Oh, look, I'll tell you what. You come with me without a fuss, and I will let you bring that new doll I bought you, all right? Now, you just be quiet for a minute, and I'll go get the doll. I've got to get ready. Found it. What are you doing? April! Don't you ever touch my things again. Do you hear me? Never! Never!
Is that the old wooden chest? I haven't thought about that in years. Mama never would tell me what was in it.